Well, I can tell you right now, this movie is not going to be for everyone, but hey, at least the audience knows how to do heroin. Guys, do not do heroin. I was joking. Like, please do not do that. And now, how queer are you? So Queer is a brand new romance film directed by Luca Guadagnino, and it stars Daniel Craig, Drew Starkey, and Jason Schwartzman. Taking place in 1950s Mexico City, a middle-aged American man named Lee falls in love with a young discharged American Navy serviceman named Eugene. So going into this movie, I was pretty biased because 1, it's a Luca Guadagnino film, 2, it's A24, and 3, I've been hearing so much praise and buzz surrounding this movie that I had to go check it out. And when I first finished the movie, I felt kind of indifferent about it. But then I took some time to really think about this movie, and guys, currently at this point in time, Queer is a pretty good movie. Not my favorite Luca Guadagnino film, but honestly, this is pretty solid. However, I do find the movie Queer to be rather overhyped, but let's talk about it. First off, the production in this movie is tremendous. 1950s Mexico City has never looked so good. When the production focuses on the city, everything feels so alive, flourish, and vibrant. This production feels like a Broadway play, but on a much bigger scale. Everything from the designs of the buildings, to the culture, to the landscapes, like it all looked incredible. Even if you are not the biggest Luca fan, you gotta admit, when it comes to production and also cinematography, his movies are on point. And I don't really know how to explain this, but with the production sets and the cinematography, this movie really elevates the look and feel of a true romance film. You know, if A24 had promoted this movie even more, I promise you this movie would have gotten way more nominations. Because visually and technically, this movie is gorgeous. And the overall acting in this movie was pretty great, but let's be honest, the biggest standout in this entire film, Daniel Craig, Mr. James Bond himself. Daniel Craig was remarkable in this movie. When it comes to Daniel Craig, he knows how to steal the scene. Even when the movie gets slow at times, he still manages to make it entertaining during the slow parts. He's charismatic, he's charming, he's got so much aura. Even playing as a queer man who suffers from loneliness and uses sex and drugs to cope with his mental gymnastics, the guy still has charm. And in the final scene with his emotional beats, I got a little choked up there for a sec. And both Drew Starkey and Jason Schwartzman were also fantastic. Jason Schwartzman was funny as hell in this movie. Outside of Daniel Craig's character, Jason Schwartzman had the most charisma. Funny and charismatic, yeah, he got hoes. And the music in this movie is heavenly. The music in this movie is so heavenly, like it feels like I'm literally walking on clouds. From the violin strings to the harp, it just sounded like heaven on earth. And I do love how this movie tackles male loneliness through unreciprocated love and drug abuse, but through the eyes of a queer person. When it comes to male loneliness, guys, we are in an all-time epidemic. And it's really sad to see because the amount of men I have seen try to cope with this loneliness or try to overcome these mental gymnastics through drugs and sex, it's not healthy. There has to be a change. Keep in mind, I am looking at male loneliness from the eyes of a heterosexual. I do not identify as queer, so I can't really speak for the queer community or even the LGBTQ community at that. So I feel like those that identify as queer are going to connect with this movie way more than me. But I still feel like even straight people can admire and appreciate this film as a whole. And Queer is a well-made film. Do not get it twisted. However, I feel like one of the biggest problems with this movie was the pacing. There is a lot of slow pacing throughout this film. Like a lot. I don't mind a slow burner film, but I feel like there were moments where the movie kind of moved a little too slow. Okay, real quick funny story, y'all. So during the second act of this movie, things started moving really slow. And I caught myself almost dozing off a couple of times because the movie was just moving a little too slow for me. But right when I felt like I was really starting to doze off, right when I felt like it was over and I couldn't fight it off anymore, out of nowhere, gay sex! I woke up from my seat like, whoa, what happened? I dozed off for like 5 seconds. Luca Guadagnino, come for the drama, stay for the gay sex. I'm sorry, y'all, that was stupid, but I had to share that. I do feel like the third act is gonna make it or break it for some people because let's just say, in a nutshell, it gets a little crazy. Like A24 levels of crazy. If you've seen any A24 film, I think you know what that means. In particular, the jungle segment of the film. Yes, they go into the jungle. I'm not gonna spoil why, but it's kind of funny. And although I was a little bit confused at first, I thought about it more and more, and I actually liked the third act. And also, I feel like the movie may not be as straightforward as some people would like. I'll admit I was a little bit confused in certain scenes at one point, but then I took time to digest and think about it, and honestly, I think I get it. I think. But in the end, guys, Queer, It's a pretty good movie. I still think this movie is overhyped. I don't think it's the greatest thing ever, but I still think Queer is worth a watch, and it is a solid addition into Luca's discography. So, plugging Queer. Into the rank system, I am placing this one into the pass zone. But yeah, y'all, that is pretty much my review for Queer. Let me know down in the comment section below what you guys thought about the film. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Do you think this movie did the novel justice? Whatever you thought, let me know down in the comment section below. And as always, guys, leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more, and I will see you all in the next one.